Welcome back, everyone, to True Crime Desk. I'm Richard,
I'm Maria.
and today what we're going to do, you probably can tell by the thumbnails, we're going to do a review of some cases that were kind of in the news the month of July. Some of them might have even been from June and are kind of continue, and some are not. But I just want to go over some real quick, and I would like to do this once a month at the end of the month, last video of the month, pretty much, and just do that. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, so the first case I want to go over is one I actually didn't do a video on, but it's the Karen Reed case. So Karen Reed is on trial for, or she was on trial for uh, hitting her boyfriend, excuse me, who was a law enforcement officer. Was it? Is it Rhode Island or where's
It's
it
in
at?
Boston.
Boston. It's in
Boston.
Boston.
Yes.
Yeah, so in Boston, and so they call it the Commonwealth instead of the state going against her. But they had a mistrial, and so they have scheduled for what is it, August excuse me, August 9th of this year. They're going to do a they're going to have a hearing for possible dismissal of the charges, and then next year, January 27th, 2025, they're actually going to have the new trial scheduled. So I think thought it was a little odd that they're going to have one set for possible dismissal, but then they have a new trial set, so it's kind of weird. Like she's already, her mind's already determined, that is. So have you been watching this case? So what do you think?
I've watched portions of it. I agree with you. I thought it was a little odd that she already put a date for the trial, but she could be covering her bases. It could just be just in case we already have the date set because the trial was so long that it's hard for all the lawyers and everything to get those dates open and things. But it also could be she already has her mindset, but that doesn't sound like legit because she needs to listen to what the lawyers have to say first before she makes her decision.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a scheduling thing. Make sure they have it all set just in case. Because if she does throw it out, they can just say, okay, don't worry about it.
Right,
Just that
right.
simple.
And she has that open date, correct? Mm.
So what do you think she's guilty at this point? Did you see any of the trial? I mean, I know.
I did see a lot of it. I can't say that I would be able to find her guilty of anything at this point because there was too many shady things going on. The main investigator is under investigation by the federal government, from my understanding. There's just too many things that you can't trust. And so I would not be able to find her guilty, but I also don't believe it was actually warranted to charge her with murder. I believe if anything, should have been like a manslaughter if she accidentally hit him, which that may be the case, but they have to prove it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that I think that she probably hit him. I think it was an accident. I don't think she did it on purpose. But from everything I've seen, they didn't never proved any of that. I really was shocked that it wasn't just immediate not guilty.
Yeah.
That's it. Because Alan Jackson is one of her attorneys. He used to be a DA out here in California where I live for LA County. And so I'm familiar with him, and I've seen him on Dateline and stuff like that. So he's really good. He's a defense attorney now. He's really good. I've seen some of his cross examinations, almost said interrogations, but his cross examinations are really good. He's the guy I want represented would want representing me if I ever needed it. Couldn't afford him, but I don't know how she is either. That I mean, I don't understand how she's affording them. I mean, people donating or what?
I don't know about that either, but I do believe that he does. I believe he believes she's innocent. He's very passionate. It just it just seems that way. He doesn't seem like he's just a lawyer doing his job per se.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're doing it for free. I don't know, but I will say that she doesn't do herself a lot of justice, though. Um, she seems like kind of a harsh personality,
Yeah.
and I think that might be a problem for jurors to see, because she makes like facial, expressions and things like that when she probably shouldn't be, and then she talks a lot outside to which the jurors wouldn't see that part, but she does talk outside a lot to the news and things. Um, but I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to find her guilty because there's too many shady things going on.
Yeah, we would hope the jury would not find her guilty or not guilty on her personality or attitude because she does come off a little smug.
Yeah.
She's a little tough. I know people from Boston and Massachusetts that, that general area. I don't know about Rhode Island, but I know that in Boston, my sister actually lives, our other sister lives in Boston. I know they're kind of tough. They have that toughness
Yeah.
to them. They have a very, I think it's an irritating accent. And I apologize if you guys are from Boston, but to me, it's hard to listen to. And it's pretty heavy. Some of them it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say a generality that everybody has a bad attitude or tough. It's not a bad attitude. It's kind of a toughness. They're
Yeah.
tough. It's cold, and they used to be. They just seem like they're very tough uh, people out there. So it could rub some people the wrong way. But I would hope they wouldn't judge her on that because that's
Right.
not what we're
Right.
supposed to do.
I did find interesting the way they do their trials and the things they
Yeah,
say,
it's
and
different.
it's very different. It's very interesting. And then I don't know if you know this, but her lawyer had asked for the trial to be held in a smaller venue. I guess I don't
Yeah,
know if you call it venue, but a smaller
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
uh, courtroom. And so that's the smallest one they have. And if you notice, people are almost sitting on top of each other. He said he wanted it intimate. Well, it is
Oh, you
intimate, all
mean oh
right.
you oh you mean the actual not a
Yes.
different location, a physical
Yes.
smaller courtroom. Oh, I didn't
Yes.
know that.
That's the smallest one they have. And you could tell, I mean, people were on top of each other pretty much. And I would have felt awkward because they're so close, like give
Yeah,
me my space, you know what I mean? But yeah, he wanted that.
that's
And
kind of odd.
I wonder if they're gonna do the same thing if they have another trial. I don't think they should have another trial, but we'll see what
They
happens.
will. They will. There's no way she's throwing these charges out. I think what might happen, she might throw a couple of them out. Certain charges you might say, okay, we're done with these.
And keep some of the lesser ones, maybe.
Yeah, but I think that
Yeah.
they're gonna have a retrial for sure. So, but
I
anyway,
don't
so that's
know.
where we are with the Karen Reed case.
Yeah.
You have anything else? No?
No, I was just gonna say
Yeah.
I don't agree with them having one, but I agree with you that they probably will.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to do it for the Karen Reed case. And so the next one I want to talk about is, of course, my buddy Alec Baldwin. So I did quite a few videos on Alec Baldwin.
Yes,
And
yes, we have.
if you've been living under a rock, we'll move the rock now so we can tell you what happened. And Alec Baldwin, the case was thrown out
Mhm.
is it with prejudice, right? So that means that
Correct.
they won't be able to charge him again because the prosecutor, I can't remember her name right now, she
Harry.
basically carry something.
Yeah.
She didn't disclose all the ammunition, and she didn't think was relevant, and which I still don't understand because I guess I don't know, I just don't get it. So they basically dismissed that case, and so he can't be charged again. I guess he's planning on suing or something like that. So
Oh, I didn't
you have
hear that.
any? Yeah, you didn't hear that.
I
So I
didn't
think
hear
he's
that.
planning on suing. So what do you think about that whole fiasco? We went over it before, but we'll just go over it
Well,
briefly.
the suing thing I did not know of. I find it a little silly. I think that he needs to let it go. Um, because he got lucky. In my personal opinion, he got lucky because I think he would have been found guilty of something in this trial if it would have went forward. Um, so it was a technicality that it got thrown out, but it was the right thing to do. The judge did the correct thing. So him trying to sue and stuff like that, I think it's ridiculous. It's like let's stir the pot some more. It's like let's let the poor family go on with their life. Just keep bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up. I just think it's wrong. I don't like it. Bad taste in my mouth. And I do know him and his wife are doing a reality show, and if the part of the trial is in it where he gets dismissed and all that stuff, it's gonna rub me the wrong way. I'm not gonna lie, because you're using someone's death
For
in
content.
your reality. I don't like it, so I
Yeah.
just hope they don't do that. But something tells me that they will.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree when it comes to one thing is I thought, and I still do think he's guilty. I don't care whether the actor thing, we're not going to go down that road because that actually rubs me the wrong way. I keep hearing that.
Mhm.
Is that they talked to the jurors, and at the point they were at, they thought that why was the case even in there? They thought he was innocent. He was not going to be convicted. Listen to the way that,
Really?
yep, listen to the way the jurors thought from that
Oh, I
little
did
bit
not
they did
hear that.
already.
I did not
Yeah,
hear that.
they were nowhere, no way going to convict him. I mean, they thought it was
Wow.
ridiculous. They didn't know why they were even there, and that was already, and they hadn't even got to the defense yet. So yeah,
Well, okay,
I
but
thought
here's,
that it would
oh,
have been
go
the other
ahead.
way. If I
Yeah.
didn't hear the jurors, I would have thought it. If I didn't know the jurors had said anything, I would have thought, yeah, he would have been convicted like Hannah was. I was pretty confident that even though he was famous, that he was going to be convicted. But after the jurors spoke, it was like it almost came off into me as like, why we here? He shouldn't be even on, he shouldn't even be
Really?
charged. And you keep hearing that shouldn't have been charged. He's an actor.
Mhm.
He's not responsible. And,
That
that
shocks
kind of stuff.
me. Oh, and wasn't the majority of the jurors women?
I have no idea.
That's what I thought, but I could be
That I don't
wrong. I
know.
could be wrong with that, but I thought that's what I heard because I was thinking that would be bad for him because a lot of women don't, no offense to women, but a lot of women don't know a lot about guns. I mean, I don't know a lot about guns. I have guns, but I'm not a pro or anything. Um, that shocks me. Did not hear that, did not know that.
Yep.
But here's the thing. The trial didn't even get started. So, maybe there, so it's almost like they have preconceived um
What is it?
decisions
Notions?
already,
Yeah.
because you're supposed to listen to all the evidence. Now, maybe if they sat through the whole trial and they heard people explain what you're supposed to do with a gun and and all the different things like that that would have come in the trial, maybe they would have changed their minds. I mean, we don't know. None of us are going to
Well,
know.
from what the jurors were saying, from what, if I'm not mistaken, is that they were saying that they didn't think he was responsible and that he had an expert supposed to be the expert in that whole spew that they were going with.
Hmm.
And this is during the prosecution's case. So if they're feeling that way, then when the
Yeah.
defense gets up there and they basically are giving them confirmation bias and saying the same thing,
Yeah.
they're not going to flip the other way. So I think if it would have continued, he would have definitely been found not guilty. So basically, what happened is saved a lot of money and time. I think that's
Correct.
what happened. I
Correct.
mean, what she did was 100% wrong. I didn't say that on my part. The judge was 100% correct. Whether you like Alec Baldwin for whatever reason, dislike him, doesn't matter. It has to be done the right way.
Correct.
If we're in that situation, we would definitely want that. So the fact that they made a mistake or cheated or hit it or whatever you want to call it, it's unacceptable. So the judge had no choice, and she did the right thing, in my
Correct.
opinion.
Correct.
So
Correct.
anything else on that one?
Well, I also heard, I mean, I might have mentioned this before when we spoke about it, that apparently there was a settlement that was made between Baldwin and I forgive me, I said her name wrong in one of our videos.
Helena.
Helena
Yeah.
and Helena's husband. Um, and none of it's been fulfilled. They haven't received a penny of the money. Um, and so I heard that, the lawyers are looking into, bring that back up, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. But yeah, they were supposed to receive money a long time ago. This happened, the settlement was in 2023, and the husband was also part of the settlement. He was going to be involved in the movie, and so when the movie came out and whatever was, the monies that they made, that they would
The
be getting
revenue.
money from that, him and his son,
Right.
but they haven't received a penny. And yes, the movie hasn't come out, but I'm talking about the other money they were supposed to receive. It has something to do with insurance backing out on something. I don't know, but that doesn't sound good. So it sounds like that might go back to court in some fashion. So I
Yeah.
did
I
hear
mean,
that.
I'm not a lawyer and I don't know exactly, but I'm thinking that in some of these cases, they have insurance and the insurance is pretty much paying. It's not like Alec is actually paying it personally.
Correct.
And so maybe that's part of it is that the insurance is, the issue. I mean, I'm not making excuses. I'm just thinking maybe that's what it is. Because I
Yeah.
know all the time, if you've ever dealt with insurance companies,
Yeah.
they love taking your money when it comes to paying out. You know how that is.
Correct.
So maybe that's part of it. Because like you said, it was 2023 and it is
Mhm.
it's 24. It's not that long. But I'm not saying it's good one way or the other, but maybe that's part of the reason. I know that they're doing that reality show. So if I was him, I would do what they did with OJ. Is I would anything they're doing, I want to get
a
some of that
portion
money.
of it.
Owe you a
Yep.
certain amount of money. You want to get something
Yes.
out of it, you know?
Yep. Royalties or whatever you want to call it. Yep. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree
So
with you. Yeah.
I want to be fair to Alec. I don't want to say it's him refusing to pay or he's just going, dragging his feet. I think it's probably going to be more of an insurance thing. It went through that, and the insurance is supposed to pay it. So that's kind of part of the holdup. I don't think it's him just saying, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I
But the
mean,
problem
I don't,
is, yeah, but the problem is they're going to go after him though. They're not going to, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It
I know
is,
that.
yeah. So that's the problem. But
All right.
that's
So we're good on that.
we're good on that.
Let's get off Alec for a while. Kind of exhausted after with that for a while. I'm sure you guys are as well. All right. So now we're going to go over, talk about Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who is the armorer on the movie Rust, who was convicted and is serving 18 months. Now, because of the fiasco, I guess is the best way to put it, with Alec's case, same prosecutor, Morrissey, last name is Morrissey. What's your
Nice.
first name?
Carrie.
Carrie Morrissey. Yeah, with all
Carrie.
that going on, is Hannah going to get into a trial? Is she going to get out because of you messed up on one, as we mentioned earlier? So they are trying to get it thrown out, trying to, go over all that right now. Her attorney, I did a video on that. I'm sure you've seen it.
Mhm.
Hopefully you've seen it. If not, you could find it. And so what do you think about that? She going to get out or what?
I don't think she's going to get out. And here's the thing, 18 months, it's not even a long time. It's kind of sickening that 18 months is
Yeah.
all she got for what happened. I don't think it'll be thrown out. I could be wrong because yes, I don't know. It's really hard because it's a withheld evidence, and from my understanding, there's a few other things that have been lip misheld as well, like interviews with the gentleman that supplied the bullets. There was
Yeah.
interviews that was withheld that he had done with the police officers or the detectives, and there's also like 900 pages of discovery or something that was withheld as well. So with all that being said, then maybe they would throw it out. But it's just, I don't know. The whole thing is sickening. It's, if these people would do their job correctly and stop cutting corners or being sneaky, then these trials would go the way they're supposed to, and these people would have justice. But at this point, that's not what's happening here. And I think that Miss Carrie, whatever her last name is, I'm not fond of her doings and how she's doing her business. And I think that if there's all these things really have been withheld, then there should be consequences for them as well, because this isn't a joke. This is someone's life. This is someone that died, passed away. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on that. Yes or
Yeah.
no? I'm
See,
not sure.
I don't, unless they can prove, in my opinion, this is only my opinion, unless they can prove that they withheld evidence that uh, would have hurt her case. So, in other words, if the ammunition,
Hmm.
if they withheld all that like they did in Alex, that's one thing. But if it's stuff that they were aware of, because I guess that they were saying that he was aware of the ammunition being turned in, and
Yes.
that he refused, he not refused, but he didn't interview him. So it wasn't like they didn't know. It was like it was near the end, but they did know about it. So I
But
don't
what
think it's
about
the
the other
same in that
stuff? But what?
they'd have to find there's something else that they withheld or they weren't able to get a do have a good defense because of it. Other than that, I don't think they're going to be able to go off just the stuff with Alec because from what I understand, he knew that it was turned in, so it was a little bit different there. So
I do agree with you, but for me, it's really confusing because the stuff that she withheld from Alex trial, it wouldn't have changed whether he was guilty or not. It had no, it wouldn't have changed anything. Yeah, if those were the bullets or not, if they were in there or not, because that's not what the trial was about. The trial was about, did he pull the trigger and aim it at a human
right,
being
I
with,
know. But
so, and it
yeah.
still got thrown out. So that's why I'm not sure what's going to happen with
Well, the
Hannah.
difference, what I'm saying is that because they didn't know about it at all. But in Hannah's case, he did know about it. So it wasn't withheld. It wasn't, see, in Alex's case, they didn't even know about it at
Gotcha.
all. In her case, he did know about it.
Hmm.
And he was saying he didn't have time to test it or he didn't have the ability or whatever, but
Right.
he did know that it was turned in. So he knew about it. So it's not like he didn't. So I don't think they'll be able to use that if there's something else, because if she did that, she could have hit something else. So maybe
Right.
they could find something else, then maybe. But just saying because Alec, messed up on Alex on this particular thing with this ammo. If he would have said, "Hey, I didn't know about it either," and it's the first time I heard of
Right.
it during
Yeah.
Alex's case, then it would have been different. Then Devil would have been out.
Yeah.
But that's not the case from what I understand. Because like I said, I did a video on it. That's what he was saying, her
Correct.
attorney and all. So I know they're going to try to get an appeal on different grounds and a bunch of
Right.
stuff's
Right.
going on. So it's still a possibility. She's definitely going to be back in court at some point, I think. So I was looking forward. Sorry, shaking. I was looking forward to seeing her go on and get on the stand
I
and
actually was
testify
too.
against him. You know, I
I
wanted
was
to.
too. I wanted to see what was going to be said. I wanted to
Yeah,
see, and I kind of wanted to see her demeanor. Um, yeah,
yeah.
I think a lot of people were interested in that, just to see her demeanor, what she was going to say. Um, it would have been interesting, but I guess we're not going to ever see that. So,
Nope, we're not. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the last one.
okay.
Was this month, and of course that was Trump, former
Oh,
President Trump,
yes.
assassination attempt, which was crazy because I record early in the morning and I work at night. So basically coming home with no sleep and then recording. So I'm tired as it is. And then you calling and waking me up for some goofy reason and then trying to get back to sleep and then calling me and telling me about that former President Trump was shot. And it's weird because when you're tired, it's hard to it's hard to believe that. And when I turn the TV on, you're seeing it. It's almost like it doesn't look real. And
Mm.
almost like the 9/11 type thing. When you see stuff, it looks almost like a movie. You
Right.
don't really believe your eyes in a sense. So
Yeah.
that was really bad police work or law enforcement work or Secret Service work or whatever you want to call it. These guys they did a pretty bad job for him to be able to get on a roof. And it's weird because it's an ongoing case. So
Yes.
we're not going to give any conclusions here. We're just basically talking about what's in the news. We're not getting political here, one side or the other. That's not what's
Right.
happening here.
Right.
But we do know that he was on a roof,
Hmm.
and that it was unattended. It was 100 and what 140 yards, 150 yards away, direct line of sight. It's that's really really bad work,
There was guys
and that
inside that building.
he did yeah, and the law enforcement was supposedly in that
Inside.
building.
Yep. So they were directly above
Yeah, he was
them.
directly above. Yeah, and
Hmm.
then
Or I think
he
it
I think
was, yes.
he's a 20-year-old with just an AR-15, which is pretty much like a Lego. They call them Legos because you can pretty much do anything you want with them. Just a semi-automatic firearm. It's not an assault rifle. They keep calling it an assault rifle. It's full automatic. It is not an assault rifle. AR does not stand for that. It's Armorlight is the company that originally made it. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, so that's really I was really upsetting. I have to admit, watching it. Um, as an American, like I said in my video, we're better than that. And then one of my videos, we don't do that kind of stuff. So I was disappointed because that's third world country stuff. It's not acceptable here. And but that photo, that famous photo of him
Yeah.
putting his fist up in the air, that motivates people, or people that don't like him, and it doesn't motivate them or whatever. We're not here to talk about that. But the fact that he was able to do that, I mean, it's a good photo. It's going to be a Pulitzer. I knew that right away. I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was Fuji, or that was the name of the photographer, I think. And I knew that right away when I saw it. But he should have never been able to do that. His head and arm should have never been. When I'm seeing it, I see his head there. It's like, man,
It scared me. It scared
he's
me. I'm not
supposed to
gonna
be
lie.
covered the whole time, and he's supposed to be taken off. You got
Yeah.
a couple people that are not even bigger than he is. Like I'm only 5'8", and I wouldn't be able to cover him. So it's not a male or female thing; it's a size thing. So
Yeah.
when you have those particular people around, when that's their job is to cover, they need to be big, the same or bigger than he
Yeah,
is.
because he's over 6 foot, so
Yeah, I
definitely
think he's
want
like
someone
six
big.
four, and he's pretty husky too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
letting them get it, I want my shoes, get my hat. That's not, we don't care. Don't care about your
Yeah.
shoes or your hat, cover them, get them out of there.
Yeah.
So that photo op, if the people that don't like Trump are mad that he was able to do that or hate the fact that it made him look good, I guess, or whatever it is, they could be mad at the Secret Service because if they did what they're supposed to do, he should have
Correct.
never been able to do that. So what do you think about that?
Correct.
I was talking a lot. So what do you think about that?
Um, I was shocked. My youngest son called me and he all he said was mom, and I heard in his voice something was wrong. And I was afraid it was something, family stuff, but it was actually, Trump getting shot. And it, like you said, it's things are hard to believe. I mean, I seen when President Reagan got shot, and then we had President Kennedy get assassinated. This stuff
Which
is
you
not
didn't see, by the
okay.
way.
No, I was too young, but these things are just not okay. It's not okay. We can disagree on beliefs and things, but that's heathenish. Um, I'm glad everything is okay, but I am not. I don't feel safe for our people that are in charge. President and vice president, and former presidents, and I don't feel safe for them because it showed me that they are not doing their job correctly. Now, was it just with Trump, or is that how they are with everybody? I don't know, but listening to them interview the lady, the Congress interviewing her, they weren't having it. And I was very proud of them, both sides, because they weren't having it. It's like, this is not okay. And she had no answers. And so I'm glad that she resigned. But that's not all that should happen. Things need to be fixed and done differently. I mean, they're supposed to feel safe, I mean, you have innocent people get injured and someone die, and it's
Right.
just it's sickening. And there is no reason whatsoever for that building not to be somebody on that building. Oh, it had a slope, and I mean, it's all ridiculous. It didn't have a slope, first of all. I seen a video yesterday, unfortunately, with the gentleman that did this, deceased, and it did not have a slope. Barely, yeah. Excuses are not, it's just all excuses. So, like you said, it's not about the sides, it's about human beings being safe in, the United States, and this is not okay. So things need to change.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. And,
Yeah.
I fear for all the people up that are in charge. I mean, everyone, if this would have happened to Biden, I would feel the same exact way. If this would have happened
Yeah.
to anybody, that up there, working in the government, it could, because it's not okay. I mean, for anybody. So
Yeah, it's upsetting. It really is. It
things
really
definitely
is
need to
upsetting.
change. Things need to get
Some of the
better
things that
with
I've
the
heard,
government.
I'm not an expert on
Protection
the
for the government,
Secret
yeah.
Service, but some of the things I heard from some of the people that are or have dealt with them have been in it is that what happens in some cases is, and also law enforcement has been doing that a lot lately too, is they'll go through their training and then they'll get assigned, and because they don't have enough agents, you know, they basically don't get refreshers, they don't get retrained, they every like because a lot of times when you're in that type of stuff, you'll go back every 6 months, 8 months, you'll do refreshers, you'll go back and train, you'll practice, you go back to the range, you keep up on your skills because if you don't use those skills, you're going to forget them if you go through
Right.
an academy training and you're doing all that covering and all that stuff and drawing your firearm, putting it in there, scanning your area and everything and doing all that stuff, whatever terms they want to use. And then you go out and you're doing it for years, and then the crap hits the fan, I guess you'd say. All of a sudden, you haven't trained, and it's just like they're
When
just like a
someone can't
robot,
find their
you know.
can't put their gun in their holster, it's ridiculous. You're trying to protect our former president. Are you serious? I'm not okay with that. It's like, and I'm not okay with their excuses because it came out that they had so much money given to them. There was no reason for them not to do extra trainings and get refreshers and things like that. There's no reason for it whatsoever. So yeah, things need to change in that atmosphere, and because our people need to be protected.
What they're saying is that they don't have, in order to do refreshers, you have to have time for them to have downtime. So if you have, a group of people, okay, I'm going to take these 20 people and they're going to go do this class and refresh. Well, now they don't have to replace those 20 people with somebody else. And they're saying that they don't have
Well,
the manpower.
they had
And
billions of dollars given to them.
I mean, manpower and just
Yeah.
people, not necessarily men.
Yeah.
Um, and they don't have the enough people to do that. And it's not. And from what, like I said, the other thing is it's not just as easy as saying, well, they have plenty of money, or we're giving money to other places or whatever. It's a matter of recruiting as well. The recruiting is down. They
Mhm.
can't get people to do it. It's
Well,
very hard. It's a very, very hard thing to do. It's almost like you can't have a family life when it comes to that, because they're
right.
like always, so it's tough. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just repeating some of the things I've heard,
Right.
some possible reasons they're having these issues. But it's a lack of training. It's a lack of
Yeah.
being up on your skills. That's for sure. Whenever you see somebody that is not familiar where their holster is. I mean, I noticed it right away because I see those things anyway. And
Yeah.
she's left-handed, I'm left-handed, so I always notice that right away. And the fact that it's not, you should never have to look down. You should know where it is, and that's just training. You can do that with dry fire. You can do that on your own all the time. So you could do that in your hotel room. Make it safe. Dry fire, practice in the mirror, whatever. You can
But
do that. You
the
can practice
trainings,
those
okay,
skills.
so I'll
You know,
I'll concede to
basic
maybe
stuff.
that being something that is legit, but I won't concede to them not protecting that building. I mean, I'm not even
Oh
I'm
yeah,
a
of course.
layman's person and I wouldn't known to put somebody on that building. So
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, I
not
agree.
okay with it. I'm not. So they can,
That's completely different.
yeah, they can say whatever they're going to say, but I'm not going to believe it at all.
Yeah, these are two
So
different things. Yeah, I agree with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought the same thing because the first thing I thought, and I think the majority of people with experience or no experience with firearms, not whatever, it doesn't matter, is that why wasn't there somebody just standing on there? You can get any
Oh
local
yeah.
law enforcement just to stand on that building. And of course, you make sure they're clearly marked so they're not getting taken out by a sniper. And they're there and they're standing there. And so they can basically just
I
do
seen
they
a
can do
video.
more. They can have to do nothing more than
Right.
stand there.
Right.
Just so someone can say, okay, there's somebody up there. I'm not going up
Yeah.
there.
I seen a video yesterday. I was floored. It was one of the I think they were SWAT or something. They were rushing to the area of where the guy was
Yeah.
that
The
they
local
had
SWAT.
got rid of. And he had to go through a fence that was a
Yeah, I saw it.
chain link fence
Yep.
and it had an opening big enough for I don't know, probably two people to walk through together. And it wasn't they weren't straight up. They were kind of like this a little bit. They was kind of bent up a little bit. You know what their protection was to keep people out from coming in and trying to get into the event? It was that paper you have that paper behind you that they use
Yeah.
for
The
when
caution tape.
someone caution tape wrapped
Yeah.
around it. That's what they had. That's not okay. Why couldn't they have someone standing there at that opening so nobody could come through?
Yeah.
Put
I mean,
tape?
I'm not going to go as far as saying that they didn't care and they were hoping somebody shoot them or they didn't care one way or the other. I'm not going to go that
I just
far
think it
because
was shoddy work,
I'll let other people do that. That's not for me to, I'm not going there. I'm not that guy. I'm not really a conspiracy guy either. I'm usually usually it is what it is. I'm not big into that unless it's proven other ways. But I do think it's complacency. It's a lack of training, 100%. Um, and complacency. You do it, you do it. 81 was the last time they had anybody that was an attempt at all. Like, actual attempt, not
Mhm.
because I know he's been threatened and they're always threatened and always a possibility. But it's 81. Those people weren't even alive. I mean, people that are they're guarding him, they weren't alive in 81.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, and it wouldn't, so they were definitely not in Secret Service. So, they weren't like Clint Eastwood, where he's the old guy and he's been there since Kennedy. And, if you've ever seen that movie, it's pretty good actually. But yeah, so I think it's this complacency, easy for me to say, and lack of training. It's just lack of training is all it is. They need to have scenarios. They need to have situations where they're put someplace and something happens and they needed to think on their feet and then find out afterwards it's a scenario. Find out
Right.
afterwards it's training. They need to like surprise them. They do that kind of stuff. And it's just they don't do it. From what I understand and what I heard, they just don't do it. They do their training, they get their badge, and they go out and do their thing. And they can be doing it for years. They hold the door, they walk and look at a crowd. They're not, so they're not doing any active training. They're not doing any of that, that active stuff. They're not keeping up on those skills.
Right.
And when it comes to this type of work, especially, it's very important you keep up on your skills. Like I said, when it comes to drawing your firearm and put it back in your holster, it's basic. You can do that on your own, you know. And she actually, matter of fact, that lady, she, I don't know her name, she actually was the agent in charge. So she was the one that was in charge, the little one, which is
Gotcha.
fine, but you can't have her up on the stage. She's just not big enough,
Yeah.
you know. It has nothing to do with male or female. She's just her stature is not big enough.
Well, I'm thankful for, them rushing in there and trying
Oh
to
yeah,
protect
definitely.
him, a little after the fact, but they did jump on him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, it starts at the top, in my opinion, and I think that just they need to fix it. It needs to be fixed. It's not okay. So
Yep.
I'm glad that they're having these meetings about everything, and I just I hope they get something accomplished. I hope it's not just
Yeah.
um just something being done to make us all feel warm and fuzzy. I want things to be done. So
Yeah. Well, if you're
yeah,
familiar with politics, when they're all agreeing, you know there's something going on.
yeah,
When you have
that's
both sides
kind
agreeing
of
that she needs
scary.
to
Yeah,
go, then you know there's something going on because that does not happen.
yeah.
So,
So.
all right. So, anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, guys. So that's gonna do it. That's some of the stuff that happened in the month of July, 2024. And obviously, like I said, some of this stuff, of course, the former President Trump assassination attempt, that's gonna move on. Um, and like I said, I didn't mention that Corey Compessatori, I think his last name is. He died unfortunately. So we want to keep him in our prayers, his family, we'll keep his family in our prayers, and because he was a really good man, and it's really sad. So we got to remember that. And I think the other two, or at least one of them, is out of the hospital now, so that's really good.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's going to do it. I just wanted to go over some of these cases. I'd like to do it at the end of the month, probably do it at the end of August as well. So, you have anything else to say?
Oh, I think we did good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
well, we covered it all. All right, guys. So
Covered it
that's
all.
going to do it. So if you got something out of this video, appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please do. So until next time, stay safe, stay curious. Remember to always mind your surroundings. Bye.
Bye.